Hello there, you creative. How are you? I am well. I am feeling a little bit refreshed right now. I'm feeling a little bit of a spring refresh. I cut my hair in a weekend, so feeling good about that. Feeling refreshed, as you do when you cut your hair. And I'm also feeling refreshed because I've been going through my content, my past content, kind of content we're creating in the future, for this YouTube channel, for my blog, for my email letters, all of those things. And I've been thinking a lot, I've been looking a lot, and what I realized when I've been thinking is that it has been quite a while since I talked about the beginning stages of a creative project. And that is simply because I have not been in much of a beginning state in my creative journey. I am much more in some sort of mid stage in a lot of projects. So yeah, it's simply not been on my mind that much lately. And so I really want to talk more about beginnings because one, I really do enjoy beginnings. They are challenging parts of the creative journeys, but they're also really magical parts of the creative journey. And so I can be almost sentimental about the beginning stages now that I'm not currently in one myself. When I'm in the beginning stage, I probably just want to speed along. But now when I'm not in one, I feel, yeah, there is something magical about a beginning, and there are a lot of interesting and fun things that you work through in the beginning of creative projects. I really, really want to talk more about that. And I also want to talk more about that because I know that many of you are either in the beginning stages or want to start a creative project. A lot of the one-to-one coaching clients I work with are in beginning stages of projects, thinking about starting a project and want to help in that process, or they are in the beginning stages, have just begun a project and want to help in that, or they are somewhere in the beginning stages of a project and want to move further along. So I do work a lot with beginnings, and that is also because I love the beginning stages. I love the development of an idea and starting and moving into a project. And I've been through a lot of those processes myself in my journey. I've done quite a lot of different things, starting this YouTube channel, starting my blog back in the day, starting working on my novel back in the day, starting my business as a creative coach. I went full time with my creative business a little over a year ago, and that was very much a beginning. And so yeah, I have some experience with beginnings. And so yeah, I simply want to talk more about them. So I thought we would talk today about some of the challenges that we face in the beginning of creative projects that makes them challenging, why beginnings can be so difficult, and how we can navigate our way through that, and keep working on our projects and not just get stuck there in the beginning. So I did something a little bit fun. When I started this YouTube channel, I talked about beginnings as well. And in that video, I sit in this chair, this armchair, and then we go out in the forest and we talk about some tips. So I thought we would do the same today. Now, almost 2 years on from running this YouTube channel, and see if I have anything more I've learned about beginnings since I made that video, and share some tips with you as well about the beginnings. So let's head out into the forest. It's a beautiful May spring day and the flowers are just starting to bloom. So let's look at some flowers and talk about the beginning stages of a creative project. So here we are in the forest, and I have found these lovelies. They are currently blooming all over the place. They're called vitsippor in Swedish, and anemones, I think, in English. And they are really my favorite spring wildflower. They bloom in May, and they bloom all over the forest, and they're just so lovely. Such a good spring sign. So yeah, picking these and admiring these all over the place. So my first thing I want to bring up with beginnings is the overwhelm of beginnings. So this is one of the big challenges in beginnings. I'm gonna put this on the ground. So overwhelm is very, very, very common when it's starting a new project, and especially if you're starting a project that is different from other projects you've done. Maybe you are starting a blog when you've never blogged before, for example, or maybe you're starting to write your first book, and the overwhelm is real. It is, because there are so many things, so many moving parts, so many choices to make when you are starting a creative project. And we do tend to get overwhelmed when we're seeing this project stretching out before us. We're seeing all the work that goes into it. We're thinking about all the different choices, all the things we have to do, and the overwhelm just builds until you freeze and feel like, oh, I don't know where to start, I don't know which direction to go. And in that moment, we just have to calm down a little bit. We have to see that, yes, we're standing in front of a project, we're standing in front of a journey that will probably not be super fast, not be super easy, but the only thing we can do is to take a small step, is to take one little step, choose one little end to begin with. And something I see, especially if you're starting a project that looks like building a creative brand, like maybe you want to have an art shop or a blog or start a business, and you have your website you want to make, and you have to decide your niche or find your why, and you have to establish a style and what you call yourself, and start an Instagram and learn this and that. And we think that we have to start everything at once. We have to sort of lift up all of the different parts and have them sort of launch at once. And what I think we should do is that we should choose one end to begin with. Just pick one thing. It's not that important what you pick. I would suggest picking something that feels fun, that feels light, and not the hardest. Maybe it doesn't feel easy, but not the thing that feels the most difficult. So maybe, for example, you start with a website, because it can be fun to design a website. So just pick something that you begin with and stick to that. Don't pursue everything at once. Don't try to figure out all the questions at once. Just pick one thing and to take small steps with that thing. That's how we get past the overwhelm of a beginning and see that, yes, there are a lot of things we are gonna do in the project that we have to figure out in the project, but we don't have to figure them out all at once. Can you see that? Can you see the bird? I can't think of the name of it in English at the moment, but it is a hackspett in Swedish. Very cool. I can't tell you how nice it is to be out filming in the forest again. I have really been hiding inside all winter when filming. It's not very nice to film outside when it's cold. Hands get very cold. But I'm so glad that it's warm enough to be out and not be freezing. Nature was always a big part of this channel and big part of how I create, what I create, how I live. So I'm glad to be back here out in nature and filming. So the second thing I want to tell you about beginnings that I want you to keep in mind is that beginnings can be quite confusing. And what I mean by this is that when we're figuring out what our idea is, what the project is, what it is we're trying to get to, it can be very confusing. Because usually we have some ideas, but those ideas can sometimes be a little bit abstract or not entirely clear, and it can be very confusing. It can be a little bit disorienting when you're trying to figure out. The birds are just going wild today. Yeah, so it can be confusing, and it can be like you're trying, it feels like there is the idea, and then there's sort of a layer of fog in between you and the idea, and you're trying to sort of discern through that fog what shape it has, and you're trying to figure out, okay, so is it this or is it that, and what exactly is my idea about? And this stage, if you're feeling confused about your idea, if you're feeling you're not entirely sure what it is, what you want it to look like, how you want to create it, you're not really sure of your direction within the project, then just know that this is extremely common in the beginning of a project. I would say it's part of the project to figure out this, what it is and what the idea is about. So don't be discouraged if you feel confused. Really don't feel discouraged. See it as, okay, so this is part of the process. Figuring out, making the choices, sometimes making a choice and changing your mind after a while, it's part of the process. So don't worry if you feel confused. And so what do we do to try to clear this fog and try to figure out the shape? Well, apart from actually moving forward with the project, when we are beginning, work on your vision for the project. This can look like making a vision board. I have a video about that if you want to have a look at making a vision board for your project. But sketching out, whether that is drawings or writing down things, making a mind map, making a vision board, those kind of things. Try to start sketching out what your vision for this project is. Sometimes it's much messier in your head than it is when you're actually putting it down on paper. And starting to capture your vision for this project can really help you sketch it out and start seeing the shape of it. And I'm also going to say, now that I'm not anymore in the beginning of a project, I know how incredibly valuable it is to have that vision in the future as well. Because while our vision can evolve and change throughout the project, it can also be really incredibly valuable to be able to go back to what our vision was from the beginning. Because usually we have some really good ideas and really good thoughts that we can start to sort of forget a little bit along the way. And coming back to the root of things in a project, coming back to what the original vision was, can sometimes help us get back to, oh, this is what I'm doing in this project. Get back to the inspiration, re-energize our projects further along. So get clear on your vision as much as you can. See it as a process to get clear on the vision and make that part of the project. Don't get stuck and stop and not do anything if you feel like you're not sure of the project yet. You're still confused. Don't wait for that fog to disappear before you start. See clearing the fog, sketching out the vision, start sketching out things, start putting things down on paper. See that as part of the project itself. And just know that things are going to evolve and change throughout the project, and that's completely okay as well. But the sketching out can help you realize what you want to do and realize where things are also changing in the future of the project. So yeah, that is my second tip for beginning stages. This is not the most magical spot with the high trees and the light behind. I love being in nature. So, the third thing I want to talk about, third challenge of beginning a creative project, is self-doubt. and doubt whether this project is going to work out, if you're going to be any good at it, if it's going to turn out as you want it to turn out, where it's going to lead, if you're going to get any good creative results from it, whatever those might be. And especially in the beginning of a project, in other stages as well, but especially in the beginning, we can be very riddled with self-doubt. And that partly comes from the fact that when we are beginning something, we are, per definition, beginners. We are not great at it yet because we're just beginning and we're just starting to understand what this project is, how we want to create it. It might be new skills involved that you've never done before. And so there is a lot of unknown in a new project. There is a lot of figuring out, and there's a lot of not knowing if this is something that you can do, if you can do it as well as you want to do it. And so there can be a lot of self-doubt in the beginning of a project. I have doubted my creativity so much in the beginning of projects. I have doubted my skills. I've doubted if I have anything to say. I have doubted pretty much everything you can doubt in the beginning of creative projects. So what do we do with this self-doubt in the beginning of a project? Well, one thing we can do to release in the moment this self-doubt is to shift our focus, because when we're self-doubting, we are thinking about, okay, how am I gonna perform in this project? How is it gonna turn out? Is it gonna work? Is it gonna be good? We're thinking about a outcome, a result. We are not thinking about, okay, so am I gonna enjoy this project? Is this gonna be fun? Is this gonna be something that I can do and be really happy that I have done? And how much fun am I gonna have learning this? And how much fun am I gonna have sketching out this and working through it? So I want us to shift from focusing so much on the result of the project and shifting over to the joy of the process of creating this project. Because regardless of the outcome, you can have fun doing the project. You can enjoy doing this project, trying this thing, and even if it doesn't lead anywhere, or even if it doesn't look successful to the outside world, you can still get something out of it on a personal level. And so when we get stuck in the self-doubting and I'm not sure I'm good enough for this project, try to release the expectations of the projects for a while. Try to put the results. Yes, of course we want our project to turn out well. Of course we want to do well. There might be creative skills that you really value, like if you want to write a book, of course you want to write a good book. If you want to have a YouTube channel, of course you want it to be nice and fun to watch, and you want it to go well. But releasing those expectations a little bit. Shifting over to enjoying it, and shifting over to, okay, so I'm doing this project, and regardless of how it goes, I'm gonna have fun or whatever you want from the project while I'm doing it. I'm gonna enjoy it. So that is the simplest and most effective shift at the moment. And then we can work on self-doubt and work on building up our creative confidence over time, but that takes a little bit of a longer time. That is something that you can work on throughout the project. And usually when we are courageous, when we face that fear of, oh, I'm not sure this project is going to be good enough, we face that fear and create anyway, and embrace that is going to be imperfect, especially in the beginning. When we embrace that we are not going to have everything figured out, when we embrace that we are beginners and we are going to make things that are not perfect. We're never going to make things that are perfect, but we are going to create things that are a little bit below the standard that we might like. When we embrace that and say it's okay that things are not top notch, because we're just in the beginning, then we're going to have a lot more fun with it, and then we are going to build creative confidence, because then we are doing it. We are honing the skills because we are actually creating. We are understanding more about the project because we're moving forward and we're doing it. So we are going to build creative confidence over time in the project as well. So if you are feeling doubtful about your project, if you are wondering if you really can do it, if you are thinking, oh, I might not be what you think you have to be able to do this project well, just try to, whoa, Jesus. Ah. There was something, some bug of some sort that attacked my jacket. Sorry. The joys of nature. Anyhow, little things like that, little stumbles along the way are expected. It's going to happen. And yeah, I really lost my train of thought. But if you're feeling doubtful, if you are feeling that you're not sure you can do it, try to just ground yourself in having fun and being brave and doing it even if it feels like you can't do it. Because if you are doing it, then you are doing it. And really the results, they are not what a creative project is about, in my opinion. In my opinion, a creative project is about you and your creative vision and doing the creative work that you want to do and the joyful part of it. And the results, they can be important, absolutely, but they are not what a project at its core is about. So those were my tips when you are starting a new creative project. They are the main challenges that I see in my coaching clients, that I've seen in my own journey, that we battle and get through. The overwhelm, the confusion, and the self-doubt. But like I said in the beginning of creative projects is really magical. That is when we are really close to our vision. That is when we are experiencing things for the first time, when we are making changes in our lives because we're starting something. We grow a lot through the beginning of projects, both as creatives and as humans. They can really have big ripple effects on our lives. I've seen that in many ways in my journey. And the beginning stages of creative projects, even if they're difficult, they are so high on inspiration as well. They are so high on vision, and I just love it. I just love the beginning stages of a project, even if it's tricky. So try to soak in that enjoyment of the beginning stage as well. You don't just want to power through it or just wish away the beginning. Try to see it as a fun part as well. So those were the challenges I want to talk about in regards to starting a creative project. And if you are in that stage, good luck. Tell us in the comments if there is a project that you are thinking of starting off or have started, and let us cheer you on in the comments as well. So one more thing, it can be really helpful and good to have some kind of support system if you're starting a new project. That can be, if it's related to a certain skill, to take a course or have creative friends or just friends in general, family. Be aware of what you're doing and be able to support you and cheer you on. You can also join my membership community where we talk about all of these kind of things. And I also do my one-to-one creative coaching, especially for the beginning stages of a project. We work through all of these things with the self-doubt, work through the overwhelm, how to focus on what to do first and how to prioritize in the beginning stages, and figuring out your vision, all of those kind of things. That we do that in one-to-one coaching. So if you're interested in that, there are links to that in the description to this video. So that was all. I'm gonna head home, back home from the forest, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it gave you some food for thought if you're in the beginning stages. Hit that little like button if you enjoyed it, and if you're new here, hello and welcome. You can subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.